Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A few years ago, I went to the masjid and I ran into a brother there. And I had been seeing this brother off and on, actually seeing him pretty regularly in the masjid. I didn't know who he was, but I was seeing him. So we eventually ran into each other and we started talking, and the brother was fresh out. He had been locked up, he had been incarcerated for a number of years. And we were talking, and I said, Alhamdulillah, I see you at the masjid all the time. His response was, I don't have anywhere else to go. And if I go back to my old stomping ground, or if I go back to my area that I know, I'm going to get myself in trouble again. So I'm trying to stay out of trouble. So I'm staying here at the masjid. I come here to the masjid all day and I stay here. And, that's how I'm keeping myself busy. I said, okay, Alhamdulillah. And it made me think that, especially back then, I actually produced one of my first videos in the parking lot of the masjid, sitting in front of the masjid on the ground, because it made me think about, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, because it made me think about, these brothers that are incarcerated, and how when they come home, they don't have anything to come home to. And that speaks to the level of recidivism for guys going back to prison. Fast forward, I recently was asked to be a part of a da'wah team that's going to go into the jail. And I was contacted. Now, the whole team is Arab. They're Arabs, foreigners, immigrants. The problem that they're running into is the only group that's giving da'wah, and they have a stronghold. They've been going there for 10 years to give da'wah to the inmates, is the Nation of Islam, the NOI. So I was called and asked, hey, we don't know how to deal with these guys. we don't know much about them. We know that Malcolm X was a part of the group and he left, but we don't know their aqidah. We don't know their manhaj. We don't know how to combat them, but we know that they're not right. He said, the brother that called me said, we went to the jail a few times and all they talked about was a newspaper that they were pushing to the men to read. And for those of us from the African American community, we know that's the Final Call newspaper. He said there was very little conversation of Quran. Everything was race. Everything was politics. It was, again, very little actual religious teachings, which in essence is good because it's going to be that much less to unravel. So the brother asked me, he said, can you help? Do you know anything? And I said, well, one thing that I learned is when I was overseas, rarely would the ulama speak in reference to individuals. They would teach principles. And I was telling this brother this. I said, if you teach the principles of Islam, you teach the asal of Islam, then they will learn what Islam is. When you know what it is, then you know what it's not. So I said, I think the strategy should be to just go in and teach Tawheed. Focus on Tawheed. Focus on teaching them, showing them, bringing the Quran, bringing the books of Sunnah, showing them the literature. Because once you begin to show them, then and teach them that what somebody says does not override what the text gives us, that is the easiest way. I think that's the best mode of bringing them to what true Islam is. For any other brothers out there who have experience in working in the jail systems, and I know it's quite a few, if you have any tips, tricks, or anything that can be used to sort of help us to help them, it would be much appreciated. Um, it's rather sad that we're just getting around to reaching out to the brothers in prison. Um, so I'm going to be reaching out to places to get dawah materials. He said, they tend to leave them stacks of newspapers, final call. They need information, pure Islamic information that explains Tawheed, information that explains the Quran and the Sunnah and the understanding of the Salaf Saleh. So I'm going to be reaching out, trying to get some pamphlets and books and things that I can take and that we can leave with those brothers, to sort of override that Nation of Islam thing. Um, and at the end of the day, you need somebody from the people to touch the people, to be able to communicate, to be able to have a relationship. And I think that's where the nation has that foothold, is that the nation is African American from the African Americans. But alhamdulillah, Islam is for everybody, and it's not all black people locked up in prison, or locked up in jail. So the da'wah material is going to speak to everybody, but we need to make sure that we get information that's correct and pure, and something that we can leave them for them to read and to intake when we're not there. So, anybody have any, um, like I said, tips or tricks or information or guidance on dealing with the brothers that are in prison? It'd be much appreciated. Not even prison. I'm going to the county jail. Let me not misspeak that. We're not going into the prison. We're going into the county jail. So, and the maximum someone can stay in the county jail is 2 years. So, if you know of anything or have anything, inshallah, please reach out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.